scales and how do they go together? Is that, and how do you, well, we didn't have it worked out like Jamey and all the guys do now that we're you know, but I, of course, learned scales because the classical teacher, they assume you're going to play classical music, I guess, and that's part of, so the scales are very helpful, but I think I just did it on my own. Where I knew chords, I just picked up what I call grips, you know, but this. I find some old pictures where I was playing ninth chords before I thought I knew ninth chords, but when I was a kid. But to be very honest with you, in the playing scales and modes and, or seventh scales or any kind of scales or chords or anything else, in the last analysis is here. Your ear guides you or fails to guide you, as E.B. White says about prose, you know, and all the rules of grammar and syntax ain't going to help if you don't hear it. And but that's not telling you very much. It's useful, but it's good to know all that stuff, but it's not going to make you play. Don't think it will, because I know a lot of guys who know that. And that depends on ear. It's better to work on listening to, in my view now, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but in my view it's better to listen carefully to the masters, like Charlie Parker or Sonny Rollins and Miles Davis, and listen to their solos and play them on your instrument. It's very important. Don't worry about imitating. If you're going to have a voice of your own, you'll find it, but it doesn't matter. Everyone imitates. You know, else we'd all be beating on hollow logs or something still, right? You imitate from the moment you're born. You're imitating your mother's speech and your father's speech and so on, and what you hear. So often students, back when I taught, they would say, I want to be original. Well, when you can't play, you know, come on. Learn how to play first and then worry about that. And so if you keep imitating things that are worth imitating, like Sonny Rollins or whatever, Coltrane or Coleman Hawkins, Lester Young, anything, Charlie Christian, Tal Farlow, just pick out, take what you like and play it up, but play it on your instrument. There's some kind of a connection there. I find that if I can't remember someone's name, if I write it down, I'll never forget it, you know? And because a lot of times, I don't know if you had this happen, if you have a friend and you've met their wife 40 times, and every time you call them, you can't think of their wife's name. Well, all I have to do is write it down once beside it. I never have to look at it. That's the same thing happens when you play your own the lines. Like if you're trying to figure out how the hell does so-and-so get through the changes without sounding like he's running the changes, and he's playing good melodies and you can hear the chords. Stan Getz is a good example. He can play through anything by ear, you know. He could. He's been dead a couple of years, but he doesn't sound like, he sounds like he knows the changes up and down, and he does in a way, but mostly he's playing by ear. And, but what an ear. I mean, I don't have an ear like that, and very few people do. But if once you play the thing on your instrument and think of the chords, or if somebody's playing it for you, so from a C7 to an E7 to an A7, whatever, and how does he do it? How did Charlie Parker do it? How did Miles do it? How did Coltrane do it? How did this one? It's all, once you do it on your own instrument, that gives you an insight into, somehow, into what it is they're doing, you know? Play the solo. What do you think? Steve?
Well, I agree with you 100%. How much of your playing do you think is done by ear? What percentage of your playing is by ear?
More and more of it's by ear as the years go on. In fact, I would hope that eventually I wouldn't have to think about anything.
Right.
But the melody and follow it and find it, you know, and the notes, if you want to call it a melody or a line or whatever you want to call it. The less I can think about the guitar, the instrument, the audience, everything. You know, the more I'm just following what I hear in my head, I don't think of myself as a guitarist, I never did. I'm a musician, and that's what I'm after, not guitar. Guitar is an accident, it's a nice instrument, but there are some that have advantages like horns and pianos, but it's a good instrument.